I decided to make the inner for the blazer or the jacket, and I found out that I don't want it to be pencil and I don't want it to be flay. So I wanted an A line, something different from what I saw online. With the inspiration in mind, I decided to make this A line. So I'll be showing you how to draft your A line dress or A line skirt and how to attach it to your top. Okay, so if you have a previous pattern, this is very very necessary. To our subscribers, we want to say thank you so much for subscribing, and if you haven't subscribed, please like and subscribe to our channel. This way you are helping us to grow and reach out to more audience. Come along and let's begin. Okay, so for the illustration, I'll be using this piece of pattern paper to illustrate the A line. So you mark your waistline and also your zipper if you're adding zipper to it. But if you're using elastic, there's no need to add zipper allowance. Okay. And I use this for my illustration, but for mine, when I was cutting mine, I drafted it on the fabric. Okay, so you can just draft it on the fabric, and if you want to add that, you can also add that to it. So I marked the hip measurement that I needed, and for marking of that, you can mark that and divide it in the middle. I think I have a tutorial on that, and I'm going to drop it on the link below. Okay, so for this A line, we are not doing that method, we are doing something else. So you mark your waist, you mark your hip measurement, and after you've gotten your waist and your hip, just mark it and connect it. So I went ahead and I connected my hip measurement to my waist. After connecting it to the waist, now we are about to get the A line effect. Okay, so from the hip, you are going to just leave the hip. We are not going to mark our around above knee. You are just going to go to the length of your skirt. So if your skirt is 46 inches, if it's 30, it depends on how you want it to be. You mark the wideness you want the A line to be. So for this small pattern paper, I use like 10 inches. So I connected it to that 10 inches. Can you see it? So the waist to the hip is a bit tiny, while from the bottom part is going to just give you that A line effect. Okay, so it's not going to be tiny. But if you are making a pencil skirt or a pencil dress, you are going to just add it to your round above knee and connect it down to your hem line. Okay, so this is it. After cutting it out, this is what I have. But if you are using a zipper, leave the zipper allowance for the back. Then while cutting out the front, you are just going to fold it in. Okay, instead of cutting it, just fold it in. I wanted to cut mine, but decided to just fold it in. So do the same thing for yours. Just fold it and see we've gotten our A line effect. So do this on your fabric or on your pattern paper and use it to cut out your skirt or the part you want to attach to your upper part of your dress. This is my after cutting. So I cut out the front and the back. Can you see it? So what I did for mine was I reduced the A line effect not to be too pronounced. Okay, so but you can make it to be a bit wider on the M line. Okay, so this is it, and this is the back. I'm going to open it up because I've added the zipper and will be adding the zip to the back. So what I did for mine was I already made the top, and I was like I wanted three-piece or a two-piece. So at the end of the day, I decided to just make it a two-piece instead of a two-piece. Okay, so I am going to stitch the skirt area, and I'm going to show you how to stitch it if it's a three-piece. Okay, if it's just the A-line skirt. So you stitch the sides together and do the same thing for the lining piece. So cut out your lining piece. If you want it to be as long as the skirt, you do the same thing, but mine was not as long as my skirt. I made it shorter, and I'm turning it with the lining piece. Okay, so we are not stitching lining to fabric, or no, we are not doing that. Okay, so you cut the lining for the zipper, also the back lining, so you have to cut it because of the zipper allowance that we have, and because we're adding zip to the back. But if you're adding zip to the side, there's no need to cut the front or the back, you just add the zip to the side. Okay, so take it to your sewing machine and join the front piece to the back piece. Do the same thing for the lining piece and the main fabric. So this is it after I've stitched the sides together and I went ahead and I ironed it. So if you are doing it as a-line skirt, all you have to do is just to attach your band and turn it with your lining. Okay, so you attach the band one side to the lining piece and one side to the skirt. So you do the same thing, but exactly what I'm doing, that is what you do to your band. So mine, I attached the top that I had to the skirt, so I'm attaching the main fabric to the skirt. Okay, but you know, when you have a band, that's not what you do. You cut your band, fold it into two, and you'll be having one as the lining piece and the other as the main piece. Okay, so I just want to explain it for you. So for those attaching top to theirs, attach the main fabric to each other, then attach the lining piece to each other. This way you are going to use the lining piece to turn out your dress. But if you want to sew it the other way, by which you stitch the lining piece and the main fabric together, and all you have to do is just stitch the sides together, and you just stitch everything, then attach your zipper. But this one, when you turn the inner, you won't see any stitch, you won't see any part that is stitch, except you open it up from the inner or the lining piece. That is where you are going to see any stitch to your dress. Okay, so it's like a closed stitch. So you do the same thing, attach the main fabric together, attach the lining piece together and stitch. So if you are sewing for your band, let me repeat this, you do the same thing for your band. You attach the main fabric together and the lining to the other side of the band, then you use it to turn out your zipper. Okay, so I'm going to stitch it now and show you how it looks before we turn out our zip. This is how it looks after stitching. Can you see it? So this is how it's going to be after you stitch it. So this is what I was talking about. You won't see any stitch on the inside except you turn it. That is when you are going to see your stitch. Okay, so this is the lining piece and the main fabric, and we are about to add our zip. So you take your zip and you are going to pin it from the tip of that your main fabric, your main dress, and you are going to stitch. So when you pin it on both sides and stitch both sides together. So while pinning it, come down a bit from that your zipper, come down a bit so that you will not stitch on the zipper part, and it will be relaxed when you come down a bit. Okay, so that's what you are going to do. I had to take my waist measurement to find out where I'm going to start stitching from. So you take your waist measurement and also take your bust measurement. After taking your bust measurement, mark the part on both sides of the dress, then pin the zip. So when you pin the zip, you are going to stitch the zip to the dress first. Then after stitching it, you are going to now use the lining piece to turn out the zip. Okay, so just watch what I'm doing. That is basically what I did. I'm sorry for not showing you how I sewed it on my sewing machine, but that was basically what I did for the dress. So that's how you turn your dress with your lining piece. Okay, so just watch what I'm doing. I decided to place them side by side and I decided to pin it together. So while pinning it, you are going to find out if the waist align with each other, if the neckline align with each other. Okay, so that's what you are going to do. You check everything that you need, your measurements, and make sure they are accurate before you start stitching. So I had to pin it up. I will check again if they are okay. I will pin it, take away the pin, and do the same thing. So you constantly do it to be able to get everything to align with each other. And for that edge of the zip, come down a bit. Okay, not starting from the iron part. You come down a bit and it's going to be very, very well placed when you do that. So after pinning it, I'm going to stitch it, then use the lining piece to turn it out. So after stitching it, can you see what I'm doing? You are just going to flip it over and use the lining piece now to turn it out. So that part you flip the zip is the part the zip is going to be. So it's not going to come out. That pointing part is not going to come out. So you stitch it and stitch it to where you want the zip to stop. Okay, so after stitching, this is how it's going to look like. So take it to your sewing machine and do the same thing that I'm doing for yours. So that's basically what I did to turn out my dress. This is how it looks after stitching, and this is how it's going to be. Okay, so it's going to be so neat, you won't be seeing any stitch on it. Okay, so thank you so much guys, thank you for watching today's tutorial. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. God bless you and have a fruitful and wonderful day. Bye guys. I'm going to post a shot on how I rock this outfit this week.